Utterly haunting. That's perhaps the only way to describe how most viewers feel after watching the case of the murderer behind the white bandages in Detective Conan. This is considered one of the most terrifying and unsettling cases in the series. What makes this killer so scary isn't just the starkness of the murders, but the sheer audacity, acting in broad daylight without a shred of fear. Adding to the horror is his appearance. A face completely wrapped in white bandages like a mummy, making every encounter a heart-stopping moment. Today, the plot reviewer will recap the chilling case of the murderer behind the white bandages and uncover why it was so disturbing that 2 anime episodes based on it were banned from broadcast. At the invitation of her friend Sonoko Suzuki, Ran and Conan traveled deep into the mountains to a mysterious villa. After wandering through the dense forest for some time, they finally arrived at their destination. In here, Conan and Ran saw a strange man, his entire face wrapped in white bandages, standing on a suspension bridge leading to the villa. The party they were about to attend was the reunion of Sonoko's Sisters College Film Club. Before going into the details of the case, let's learn about each member of the film club and their relationships. First is Ayako Suzuki, Sonoko's older sister who is currently a graduate student. She handled makeup and costumes for the club, a reserved and sentimental soul with a nostalgic heart. Then came Ikeda Chikako, a celebrated scriptwriter and the club president, who has received many famous awards. Ota Masaru, the club's leading man in their productions, now works as a car dealership broker and is notorious for his flirtatious, womanizing ways. Sumiya Hiroki, a warm and friendly film editor, was responsible for cinematography and special effects. Takahashi Ryuichi handled props and heavy equipment. He has a big body and is somewhat shy. There was also Atsuko Tokumoto, a talented young screenwriter and former member of the club, who had tragically died by hanging 2 years ago. And finally, there was the mysterious man in white bandages whose unsettling presence seemed to haunt every corner of the secluded villa. When they arrived, Ran and Conan brought their luggage to the second floor. Because Sonoko hadn't told them exactly which room was theirs, Ran ended up opening doors at random, only to mistakenly walk in on several male members of the group while they were changing. Flustered and embarrassed, she quickly apologized before retreating. After everyone had finished preparing, the group gathered in the living room to talk and reminisce about their university days. The mood shifted abruptly when someone mentioned Atsuko, the member who had passed away. Chikako's expression darkened, and she excused herself to take a walk, prompting Sumiya to follow her. Ayako headed to the kitchen to prepare dinner, while Takahashi went to repair the roof in case of heavy rain that night. Meanwhile, Ran was invited to go for a walk by the handsome boy, Ota Masaru. This guy started to act like a womanizer when he tried to persuade Ran to leave Shinichi and love him. At that moment, thunder rumbled and lightning split the sky. Startled, Ran bolted, losing her way in the dark forest. That's when she saw him, a man with his face wrapped entirely in white bandages raising an axe to strike. Before he could attack, Conan and Sonoko appeared, but the figure vanished into the storm. When everyone regrouped in the villa, they wanted to call the police, but the phone lines had been cut. The suspension bridge outside had also been severed, trapping them on the mountain. With no choice, they decided to wait until morning to head down for help. Later, Chikako returned to her room, and she saw the letter in front of the door and picked it up to read. Her face turned pale as paper. She said she felt unwell and went to her room to rest early. Meanwhile, the others gathered in the dining room to help with dinner preparations. Suddenly, Takahashi screamed. Outside the glass window, everyone saw something impossible. Chikako, who should have been in her room, was being dragged away by the white-banded figure. Conan grabbed a flashlight and sprinted after them, with Ota, Sumiya, and Takahashi following into the dark forest. What they found froze their blood. Chikako's body had been dismembered, her head, arms, and legs scattered among the trees. Shaken, the survivors returned to the villa, bolted the doors, and retreated to their rooms. Conan was still thinking about the case, or it could be that Ran was lying next to him, making it difficult for him to sleep. The man in white bandages appeared again. This time, he appeared inside the room, lunging at Ran with murderous intent. Thanks to Conan's quick reflexes, she narrowly escaped harm. Everyone woke up and ran to Ran and Conan's room, but the man had quickly disappeared. It would be dangerous to separate, so everyone decided to gather in the dining room and wait until morning. Outside, the storm still raged. Then, a sudden flash of lightning struck nearby, plunging the entire villa into darkness. Ayako, Ran, and Conan went to the kitchen to get candles. The stranger appeared again and attacked Ran. This time, Ran reacted on instinct, managing to fend him off. After a while, the electricity came back on, but the man was gone again. Who was this bandaged man? Why was Ran his target? How could he suddenly appear and disappear in front of everyone? The clues began to take shape. First, the mysterious figure had been seen lurking around the villa long before the first attack. No one had ever seen his true face. After unsuccessfully attacking Ron in the forest, he destroyed the suspension bridge and cut the telephone line to completely isolate everyone in the villa. Then there were his 3 failed attempts on Ron's life. The first was in the forest while she was walking with Ota. The second was in the upstairs bedroom she shared with Conan. But how had he broken in? There was a small round hole near the window. Had he climbed a tree and cut the glass from outside despite the pouring rain? If so, why were there no muddy footprints inside? The third attempt came when Ran went to retrieve candles during the blackout. The window on the second floor was broken, the bottom latch was not locked. He must have broken in from outside this way. Chikako's death was as disturbing as the fear in her eyes when she read that slip of paper under her door. The man wrapped in white bandages, carrying Chikako's body, passed by the dining room window. Her indoor slippers were missing from the front entrance. Found at the back door, proof she had slipped outside. Ayako picked up Chikako's choker in front of the door after everyone ran out to chase the murderer. 2 strange scratches were found on the second floor balcony railing. That hinted at something, though no one knew what. As for the sudden suicide of Atsuko Tokumoto, who was always cheerful, one day she somehow hanged herself in her room. After that, the group never met again. Could her death be connected to this case? The truth began to unravel. Chikako had been wearing shoes when her body was found, meaning she had gone outside willingly. Her slippers by the back door proved she didn't want anyone to see her leave. And why would she go out? The letter, it must have come from someone inside the villa. Only they could have slipped it under her door. But there was something wrong at the crime scene. When the bandaged man brought her body past the window, she still had the choker on her neck. If she'd been killed in the forest, the choker should have fallen there. That could only mean one thing. At some point, her body had been brought back into the house, and then placed outside again to be discovered. This wasn't just murder, it was staged terror. Perhaps there had never been a bandaged man at all. The storm outside turned the ground into mud, yet no footprints were found in the room where he supposedly entered. The hole in the glass was cut dangerously close to the lock. If it wasn't someone who knew well, it wouldn't have been cut so accurately. Maybe the killer hadn't come from outside at all. The second floor window had been shattered, one side unlocked. If it had truly been a forced entry, the lock should have been engaged. More likely, the killer unlocked it from inside, went outside, smashed the glass, and staged the scene to mimic an intrusion. That left only one chilling possibility. The killer was among them. He had tried 3 times to kill Ran. But why? Because in the morning, Ran had accidentally opened the wrong door and seen something she shouldn't have. Something the killer would do anything to bury, even if it meant her death. On the second floor balcony, 2 faint scratches marked the railing, a subtle clue to the killer's elaborate trick. If there was some trick, it would also be understandable why Chikako's choker fell in front of the door. The culprit was none other than Takahashi Ryuichi. Takahashi had the stranger appear in front of everyone and said that he also saw him. The ultimate performance came when the killer appeared outside the dining room window, bringing Chikako's body past. In that moment, everyone believed in the phantom murderer. This was a perfect alibi. How could Takahashi have moved Chikako's body past everyone? The woman they saw outside the window wasn't human at all. It was a mannequin, its head replaced with Chikako's. A thin wire ran from the dummy's back, looped over the balcony railing, the same railing marked by those scratches. The killer tugged the wire, making the figure glide past the window. It was a trick only someone familiar with stage props could pull off, and Takahashi had once been in charge of props for the club. When the others chased the murderer into the forest, Takahashi took advantage of the moment when everyone wasn't paying attention, put Chikako's head down, and pretended to go looking for it together. If Takahashi had held Chikako's head, everyone would have noticed. But it was carefully planned, which is the most important point of this case. Takahashi was not as fat as everyone thought. He padded his midsection with cloth to appear larger. After the murder, he simply removed the padding, replaced it with the head, and walked back to the villa undetected. This is the reason Ran became the target of the attack, because when she first arrived, Ran mistakenly opened the door to his room and saw Takahashi's real figure when he was wearing clothes. His motive was revenge. 2 years ago, Atsuko had shown him the script she had written. Name is the Green Kingdom. Chikako had stolen it, presented it as her own, and received many big awards. Devastated, Atsuko had hanged herself in her room. To avenge her, Takahashi became the bandaged man, lured Chikako outside, and killed her. When exposed, he muttered something about protecting justice and keeping Atsuko safe forever. But there was nothing just in what he had done. It was only blood and cruelty. He had killed not only for revenge, but to silence anyone, even Ran, who might threaten to reveal the truth. Justice was never his to protect. And if Atsuko was watching from the afterlife, she would never find peace in the crimes Takahashi had committed in her name. She might have been his whole world, but she would never have wanted him to live with a heart rotting in hatred. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like video. See you.